Tuperas y tuperas, today on DOOP by the River, we're going to talk about the MLS All Star game. We're going to show it some love. We're going to also look back at what exactly went down in Montreal. I do not know what went down there on Saturday on Saturday night. And of course, we're going to preview our DC United match. We're going to have RFK Refugees on a little later, but don't you dare go anywhere, guys, because you do not want to miss this episode of DOOP by the River. And let's get this started, guys. Run it! And that is right. Welcome, everyone, to DOOP by the River, the show where we follow everything Philadelphia Union, brought to you by Philly Sports Network. And before we move forward, ladies and gentlemen, please do not forget, if you're watching this live on El Parcero Phillies YouTube channel, make sure you guys hit the like button and subscribe. And, of course, we are on PSN Radio. You guys can find PSN Radio wherever you stream podcasts from Apple, Google, and Spotify. What is going on, everyone? Let me introduce to you my fellow experts and dupers. And without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome my man, Mr. Zach Labasso. What's up, Zach? It's been a while, man. I'm glad you're back.
Yeah, it's good to be back. I was disappointed that I had to work the last 2 weeks, but
that's all good, man.
Yeah, it's been busy. High school season's been up and running, club stuff going on, but I'm here back, ready to talk about the Union a little bit.
We're excited that you are here for sure, my man. I'm sure you got some spicy takes later on, and we're going to talk about that a little later. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome our next host. He's going to go today by Justin Ricardo Pepe for USMNT striker Freiburg. What's up, Justin?
I'm doing pretty good. I like Zach. I think I got some spicy takes for today. I think
we all do, man.
Unleash the beast, as they say, because boy howdy, has this team been frustrating.
Oh, it does. You know what we need, Justin? I don't know if you watched that wing show where they like eat the spicy wings and they do interviews with the celebrity.
I love that show. I love that show.
We need like a pepper, like kind of showing people how spicy the episode is going to be. Is it going to be like habanero? Is it going to be jalapeno?
Idea.
That's all we need, right?
Just a little graphic on the screen that like every week, and it just like pops up at the beginning. It's like right in the bottom corner, right by Justin's face, and it just like shows how hot the epesode's going to be.
This might be a it's not necessarily a ghost pepper, but it's gonna be up there, man.
we're gonna start translating in pepper talk. I love it, guys.
And then we'll just get sponsored by a hot sauce brand, and then that'll be in the bottom.
Hey, listen,
yes, and then it'll be like, and then
selling out for that. I'll promote whatever hot sauce,
and then it'll be like their brand, and then it will just be like, and this week's episode is sauce, the second hottest hot sauce provided by blah blah blah. Oh, it'd be perfect.
For the perfect sponsor for the spiciest Union podcast out there. And last but not least, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome my man, the voice of positivity, Mr. Tim Lumick. Tim, how you doing?
What's up? I'm good. I'm good. I'm here. And as Justin knows, I was very angry on Saturday. So there's definitely some spice that's going to be coming in here.
I will say this. You have every right to feel the way you do, man. You have every right to feel the way. I'm excited to talk about that. But before we move forward, I want to give a quick shout out to, yet again, the Aronson family. Honestly, Brandon Aronson scores a goal, helps his club, RB Salzburg, into the Champions League. Not CONCACAF. We're talking UEFA Champions League. I just can't. It's absolutely remarkable what he's done. I had to show a little bit of love to one, Mr. Brandon Aronson. We'll start off the discussion here. Zach, man, what is the limit here for Brandon Aronson? Because my mind right now, I'm thinking like Manchester United starting number 10 in 2027. You know me, I'm crazy like that.
Yeah,
but what is the ceiling for
United? Let's not say United. Not United. I was actually I responded to, I forget who tweeted it, but I say they asked how much Brandon's probably worth right now, because they sold Daka for $30 million to Leicester. And realistically, I think he's probably in that same range, maybe a little closer to 20 than 30 right now. But by the end of the season, if he keeps playing like this, especially if he performs in the Champions League, they could probably sell him for upwards of $40 million if the right team comes knocking. I think that's a little high, but the market's always going up. Inflation's crazy in world football and how transfer fees work. But I think between 20 and 40 is probably where Brendan can play in the market. And I think a mid-level Premier League team is probably where he ends up, maybe like an Everton or a Leicester, or there's some team like that. It may hopefully not Newcastle, but maybe Newcastle.
Dude, Hamas might go there, so I might have to settle with that. Yeah, so that's where my mind's at. Hassan, listen, I appreciate you coming on in here, man. We're not going to take that type of talk here, so unfortunately, you got to go, my man. So thank you for stopping on in, brother. All right, Justin, what I want to talk to you about, guys. All Star game is here. We have the MLS All Star game. It's actually tonight, 9:30 kickoff at Bank of California Stadium. Now, we were talking a little bit before off air. Now, I truly believe that the MLS has the best All-Star game out of the 5 major sports here in Philadelphia. Just look at this year, the parity, Liga MX, MLS, 2 sides who've been going at it for the past 2 decades. I want to get your thoughts on this, Justin. Where's this MLS All-Star game heading, and your thoughts on tonight's match?
I think absolutely. It's the top one. I think the only one that really comes close that anyone really cares about right now is the NHL, and that's a good one. They changed it up to this kind of fantasy draft 3-on-3 format, and I think that after a bit of kind of mediocre ratings, I think that kind of brought it back up. But yeah, I mean, I think the MLS got the right idea when they kind of, instead of doing East versus West, and they've started bringing in, they did okay against certain clubs, and then it's like, well, how about Liga MX? Like, you're trying to do the Leagues Cup and the Campeones Cup, like you're trying to bring all this kind of really togetherness for working together to try to promote CONCACAF. It seems like the right mindset, and boy howdy was this one a very interesting All-Star game. I mean, it's wild when the Tigres goalie Guzman decides to fake an injury, and then Jorge Campos, former MLS goalie, decides to, he's with that Liga MX side, starting to, come out and coach, and then Andre decides to give a red card. It just got really off the rails, and then the crossbar challenge. I was legitimately on the edge of my seat, just watching, because at one point, you just they're right near midfield and they're just launching and launching. It's like, okay, yeah, from after the 18, that's not as difficult. It's still tough, but it's not as difficult. When you're at midfield trying to hit the crossbar, which I love that they had the whole the touch sensors on the crossbar that it lit up to let you know. That was wild, and it was deadlock tied, and that was the tiebreaker. And oh my god, I just couldn't believe it. It was and it went on for a while, and I loved it. And I think tonight's going to be really interesting. I'm curious as to how long they're going to give each player. I imagine they're probably wholesale changes at halftime is probably what you would expect. But no, I expect a good game. It's gonna be fun. I mean, I love the All-Star game, and it's definitely something that's interesting, and it brings a really good, I think, aspect to the league, and it helps the league at MX. But yeah, I think this could be an interesting time, and it's absolutely the best All-Star game in this country by far.
And I do think that it helps that you have, soccer being such a big sport worldwide, that you can do it with a league like Liga MX. Obviously the NBA can't go at it with I don't know, the Euro leagues, because obviously there's still a talent difference there. But it should be a lot of fun. Yeah, PJ, that's tonight. So tonight at 9:30, is that Fox Sports are doing that, guys? Or is that ESPN tonight?
FS1, yeah.
FS1. So FS1, 9:30, my man. So definitely check that out. I'm definitely going to catch that tonight with my little din-din. Tim, I wanted to ask you if definitely add on to what Justin, if you have any thoughts on the All-Star game, but what to expect by our boys? Obviously, we got two of our guys tonight, Andre and Kai Wagner. Kai should start tonight, in my opinion, but what should expect from the Union players and your thoughts on the All-Star game?
Yeah, I'll start with my thoughts on the All-Star game. I think this format is what everyone's been sort of crying for. We've seen too many MLS All Star games against European teams where they come in and either they don't take it seriously or you see the MLS teams get crushed. So it's kind of refreshing to see MLS All Stars, Liga MX All Stars coming together, play in a game that it's going to have all the eyes on it, like in North American soccer. So that's going to be awesome to see. It also kind of sets things up because I know both leagues are sort of still trying to create some sort of super competition, whatever it might be. I'm not going to call it a super league. I'm not going to say it. But that's what they want to do. That's essentially what they want to do, is try to figure that out there. But yeah, in terms of our Union players, I kind of agree with your point. I think Kai Wagner is sort of the only left back, if I'm not mistaken, or one of the the only left backs there. So he could start if the who's coaching? Bob Bradley's coaching, right? So he'll probably go with a back four because he's Bob Bradley. I don't think he'll do a back three or a back five.
He doesn't get fancy like that.
So I would assume Kai Wagner starts. And honestly, as someone who wants him to also play on Saturday, I hope he only plays like a half hour. Like, I don't really want him running around in this All-Star game. Plays so much. But he'll be, I expect him to be running around back at California Stadium representing the Union from the start. That'll be really cool to see. So yes, it is LAFC Stadiums, PJ. So that's that. And I think Andre, there's 3 goalkeepers on the roster. I don't expect him to start. I expect it to be Matt Turner because he's just 30. He's taken the league by storm. And to be honest, he's a very good goalkeeper. And he sounds like a really down to earth guy, which I've listened to a few interviews with him. He sounds like a nice guy, even though he's with New England. I'm going to give him his props there.
And I think he's the U.S. #1. Honestly.
Okay. We'll see, and we can talk maybe a little bit more about that later on once we get these World Cup qualifying rosters coming out here soon.
I can't wait.
Yeah, that's going to be a fun conversation. But yeah, I'd expect Andre maybe to get about a half hour. If they have 3 goalkeepers, you split it up like Justin said, maybe 30 minutes for each, and hopefully no one gets hurt. That's really what it is. When Andre gets in there, you can expect like 1 or 2 spectacular saves. Something to make some highlight reels. So I expect him to get in there and do that.
Absolutely. Can we just say though, as soon as Tim pitched the idea, we all know it was Super League. I just picture wrestling stage music and Perez comes out of nowhere and just back on.
Yeah. We all just want to see the Union go back down to Estadio Azteca during regular season.
Week. Just
regular season. It's regular season.
Oh my God. PJ, we'll definitely have to work on it. You're definitely giving me some TikTok ideas, but we'll definitely come up with something there.
Oh, I got some ideas for that one.
All right, so this is for all of us here. Zach, what's your favorite league?
As a neutral to watch, it's got to be the Prem. Well, let's ignore Champions League because that's obviously
that's the best of the best.
So Premier League as a neutral is my favorite to watch. I just really enjoy the parody of how Burnley can go into like the Emirates. Well, actually, everyone goes in the Emirates and beats Arsenal, but Burnley can go into, let's say, Anfield and tie Liverpool on like a Tuesday night. It's really cool to see and the whole Leicester story just makes it so much. Over the past 5 years, since it's been such a top-heavy league, having Leicester win that title in 2016 was 16. It was 16, right?
Or
16, 17. Yeah, it was just incredible. It's a really good league to watch for sure.
Justin,
I'm gonna go more general, and I'm just gonna say Germany.
Okay.
And the reason why I say Germany is since I went to Germany in 2018 and I saw a Greuther Fürth game, I've been a fan of theirs, and they just got promoted this year. But while they were in the second division, the second division is straight up bonkers.
Don't
every year, regardless, you can be just as close to automatic promotion as you are relegation. It is always that tight. It's absolutely insane.
You hear that, Werder? You hear that?
Well, Werder's their own, and Schalke their own brand of suck. But like in general, Germany, and especially for me, one of the reasons I love watching German soccer so much, besides the parity, is they have a lot of room and a lot of opportunities for young Americans.
I agree.
This has been the predominant league that has really given a lot of the young Americans their starts. And right now, I mean, you have Gio Reyna is still, playing pretty damn well. Joe Scally went over, and he had a rough game last game, but, first game of the season, he was shutting down Leroy Sané. Like, he was making Bayern work very hard, and he had the most touches out of anyone on the field. And I think it just goes to show that Germany, one, is probably one of the most balanced leagues in Europe, and two, it's a great point for Americans who want, young Americans who want to get over there and really want to get honest minutes. I think it's where a lot of players go to get honest minutes.
Right. Tim?
Yeah, I'm going to be quick. It's MLS, and I don't care. I love it. I knew it was coming. I'm here for it. Like I always say, I scoreboard watch, and I can't get enough of these crazy, wacky, like 4-3 games where the soccer is really not that great, but you just see a bunch of goals, and you see, referees trying to steal the show, and you see all this craziness. And there might not be pro rel here in MLS, but hey, you get to really know these teams well. But I will say, I do love watching Premier League, Bundesliga, and right now, Austrian Bundesliga. I've been watching that a little bit. Anderson, getting the job done over there.
Go Salzburg, no Red Bull.
It's MLS all day for me.
Listen, the way my life works, I agree with Tim. I love the MLS. It's the league that I watch the most, but like Zach and like Justin, like everyone here, I'll watch any league. Like I especially, obviously, I love the Colombian Soccer League as well. I will watch whatever. I think for me, I agree with Justin. I just love what Germany has to offer. The development, the style of play, the fans having so much power, the culture out there. I think it's beautiful. And that, to me, if we're talking worldwide than the MLS, I think I'd have to definitely go Bundesliga. But Adam, thank you so much for those questions, guys. We'll be answering some of those type of questions throughout the night. But we have to get into this Montreal match review.
Do we have to? Are you sure? Do we really?
I don't even want to recap it per se. I just kind of want to talk about the points here, because listen, there's no explanation why we drew against this Montreal team, especially what we saw last Wednesday against NYCFC. We talked about it. It was the best game we've seen thus far. This is a complete game thus far this season, and then Montreal happens, and I don't understand what exactly happened on that night. I do want to start off with the good though, and this is where we'll start off with Tim here. Or no, I'm sorry, I'm not because I got something for Tim. So okay. Zach, why don't you start off here today? So Quinn Sullivan had the game-saving goal. We were able to walk away with at least a point. You walked away with at least a point. But, Zach, what a crack. What a beautiful goal Quinn did. Just the impact. I want to hear from you of Quinn Sullivan. Your thoughts on that goal as well, man.
Yeah, to start, it was a phenomenal goal. Smashed it right in the top corner. No one's picking that out. No goal in the world. But what kind of bothered me about it was like when the people in the press conference asked Jim about like why homegrowns and Quinn specifically only score like bangers, and he's like, they score great goals because they're great players. And I'm like, well, they're such great players. Why aren't you playing them all the time? Like, why are we still starting strikers who don't score goals ever? Why are we playing midfielders who are old and can't run? Like, I just don't.
He didn't start him though.
That's true, but he did sub him in for a forward. So that part I don't really, it. And as much as I love Jim, like the decision making this year has been questionable at best. I haven't really agreed with a lot of the subbing that he's done. The lack of rotation. And even when he did rotate, we lost, and it was great. I loved it. I loved every second of that game, even though we lost, because you saw things from guys who are the future of this team as opposed to the past. And I think you see this a lot with national teams and them bringing back old players. And I think this was a big thing what happened with the women's team in the Olympics. They still had an old roster because of all the World Cups that they've been in and that they've won, and they want to keep that squad together even though they aren't in the peak of their careers anymore, and these other nations have now brought in more youthful rosters and are able to compete at higher levels. So I think the union and Jim and the front office need to kind of like step back and be like, okay, maybe Bedoya shouldn't play 90 minutes 3 games out of 4 and sub in for 30 in the other one. Maybe he should be an impact sub every other match and have McGlynn start running his legs into the ground like Bedoya has done the past couple of years. But maybe what they're thinking is as the season's gone on, they know that they're not really going to fight for anything silverware-wise in terms of how this roster is constructed. And maybe they are just running Bedoya into the ground as a last hurrah, like you do with a running back who's on a 1-year deal and you just drafted a rookie. Like you don't
look at that comparison.
You don't want to waste that rookie. So it's like what probably is going to happen in Denver this year with Melvin Gordon. They're going to run him into the ground, and then they have Javonte Williams there, who's going to be the future for that franchise. So maybe that's what they're doing. Maybe Jim's got this 1 year in the future plan already ready for next season.
I guess, man. I only here do we give you guys those type of comparisons, by the way. So shouts to Zach. Tim. So if no one knows here, Tim does an absolutely spectacular job game days on the DOOP by the River Twitter account. And Tim let his emotions through the account, and I absolutely was here for it. Guys, I really appreciate Tim's passion, and I want you to take this time here to let loose. What did you see? Why were you so upset after the match on Saturday?
Yeah, I mean, I think Zach kind of hit the nail on the head. It's like you have these players who are on the bench that could be very impactful and are very impactful when they come in, and you're not seeing enough of that. And especially for this Union team that's coming off a good result. And I think for me, the reason why I was so, I guess, even angry during the match was because this team now had an opportunity to really build momentum in a key stretch of games in the league and then leading up to the second leg of Champions League. Now, I know winning semifinals of Champions League now is very far-fetched because they'd have to score 3 goals at home to win and not that one in. But still, if you had a really good run of form and a draw isn't necessarily the end of the world, but it's the way that they looked in the draw, that they had to shithouse their way to a draw at home. That to me, that's just not good enough anymore, right? From this group. And yeah, I don't know. I think Zach hit the nail on the head again. Like they have this veteran core, which is very important to the way that they've played and the way that they've built the success over the last, 3-4 years of getting to playoffs and winning the trophy now. It's like, do they actually have the legs still? Can they run for 34 games? I don't think they can. And it's just, we're getting to that tail end stretch and a very key stretch almost coming into the fall now. And yeah, it's kind of been difficult to watch sometimes, and especially at home where this team, didn't lose at all last year except for the playoff game, which we don't have to talk about. Like it's just baffling to me the way that they keep passing the ball in the final third. They like to work it out wide, even though they have no width in their attack. And then it's just, a cross that goes nowhere or a pass backward or looking for one of the front 3. But then instead of trying to take a touch and just bury the ball, or just hit it, even if it goes over, they then look to pass themselves. And I think Curtin said a little bit about that in the press conference. I don't remember. I didn't really pay too much attention to it just because I didn't really want to after that game on Saturday, to be honest. So yeah, it was kind of rough. And it looked like no one really had it clicking and going, even after like we said, the complete performance against New York City. I think that's what's frustrating too, is that they look really good. And
I agree. And I usually, with Tim, we usually are thinking along the same lines as far as the positivity and optimism with this team. But yeah, we were getting to the point where we're starting to run out of time, man. Like you gotta get this ball rolling. Like I'm not saying you gotta win every single game, but like, dude, like get 2-3 together, get some points here and there. You're dropping points against Montreal. That should have been 3 points
against a seventh place team who you could realistically say that the Union could play in the first round of the playoffs. Like,
yeah,
that could be a home playoff game right there. And that's not good enough for me.
I agree. Zach, they're taking shots at you here, man, but I'm here for this one.
Yeah, I think it's pretty good. I think this one's pretty good. I agree. Well, so I had my lights on earlier, and my face just looked way too pale, and I couldn't have that on the screen. Like it looked like I was a ghost. I was Casper.
Oh.
Except if I was up top, I'd score goals.
Hey now.
To answer PJ's previous question about the shirt I'm wearing, this is a quarter zip from the high school I coach at.
Okay. I don't. I was okay. Very nice. Very nice.
Up in Ambler.
Hey. So. All right. So I saved the best question for Justin here. Now I talked about this on Oin Philly Sports, and I put this on Twitter as well. I have no complaints about Daniel Gazdak's play. I see what the Union fans are saying. I don't honestly understand the kind of hate he's been getting. I think he's been playing really well. I will say, I don't think that Gazdak is in the right system. I think that Gazdak is strictly and purely a number 10. And as you guys know, with my Columbia national team watches, I know what a pure number 10 is and how frustrating that could be at times. I feel like with this type of system, I think Brendan works so well because he had a little bit of both. He was able to run as much as Jim needed him to. He was great on the press, but he could also facilitate and he could score on his own. I think he had a little bit of everything, and I think that's what made him work so well in this attack. Whereas Gazdak, I feel like he's just a facilitator, and he's really good at that as well. So I feel like this team, if they want to unlock the full potential of Gazdak, and again, this is my observations. So for everyone, this is just an observation. I'm just a guy here who just talks about the Union just like you. But I feel like they need to be in a 4-2-3-1 to unlock the full potential of a Daniel Gazdak. Justin, I want to hear your thoughts. What do you feel about Gazdak, and as far as this formation as well?
Oh boy! All right, let me stretch this out because this gonna be one of my spicier takes, and I hope people are.
This is habanero level.
It's approaching peak habanero. For one, I'm going to say I don't agree with a formation change, and I think the basis for that is you really don't have the players to set up as wingers. The only true winger you have is Ilsinho. I mean, are you going to put Leon and Paxton or Quinn or McGlynn out wide? Like, I just don't think that necessarily works with the system. My direct complaint with getting Gazdag integrated with this team is everyone else, is the rest of the team. Gazdag is a true number 10, and you don't need him to play defense. You have Ali, you have Leon, you have Brujo, you have guys that can play defense. That's not a question. But when Gazdag is turning up and looking his head, he's got, the only person, making that run is Kai every time, and he's passing out wide. The offense has been so stagnant. It's insane. There's no runs in the box. Every time it's a cross, the strikers are always behind. And I love Casper, and I usually defend Casper, but him, everyone. It's been everyone. Just there's almost no one in the box. No one's making runs. Everyone's standing still. And Gazdag, is trying to get on the ball and trying to facilitate, and no one's doing anything. And that's what's frustrating. It's not just Jim not using his full substitutions. It's not him utilizing correct players. I love McGlynn, but I don't think this game was set up for him. Quinn, yes. McGlynn's a lot more methodical, and I think he was put in a bad position for a team that was very stagnant. And I felt bad for him. And Gazdag gets subbed off after like 60, 65 minutes every time. It's like, he can go a full 90. it's not it's not like Sergio where he shouldn't be going because Gazdag not necessarily a speedster.
Right.
But that's what frustrates me is I think everyone's so quick to pile on Gazdag when it's the other players in the system that has worked for this team. But you gotta have more dynamic options. You gotta have someone making runs in the box. You gotta have you can't just have this stop start if you're supposed to be a counter-attacking team and a team that plays fast. And that's what frustrates me. It's the little things. It's the little things knowing that what they have on this roster could easily be pushing New England if they actually played to their full potential. Like this, that's what the Union have been built on is a team that is not going to be standout, one player specifically, but it's a unit that works well together. And okay, yeah, you lose Brendan, you lose Mark, I get it, but that should not be the reason why this team takes a insane regression on the offense. When last year the offense was one of the best parts about this team, and they were creating chances at will, and now it feels like they're lucky if they get one goal, and that's what's frustrating me. It's just like I think to sum up my habanero level rant, it's not
get some milk out here, guys.
It's the other players in the system that are essentially leaving him out to dry, and he's a creator, and there's no options to create to, and that's what's becoming the problem, and it's reflecting them back on him.
Right. And hey, listen, look, this is just my observations, just because, listen, what I'm seeing out on the pitch, there's just like a dysfunction right now with the attack right now. So I'm just trying to think outside the box a little bit. That's all, guys. It's just an observation of mine, but I'm loving these conversations, guys, and it's healthy to have these type of discussions with our team. We just want to win. We won 2012 or 2020 again without the playoff loss. So let's get back to that. Let's get back to that, guys. But guys, we have to move forward here, guys. So this upcoming Saturday, we will be traveling down to our nation's capital to face off against DC United again. And I honestly don't know how I feel about this, but of course, guys, as always, our special guest today to help preview this match, ladies and gentlemen, a good friend of the pod. Please welcome our guy, Mr. Ted Meyer of the RFK Refugees. Ted, welcome back, baby. How you feeling?
Doing okay. You guys talk about winning, and I'm like, man, it's been a while. Been a little bit since. I know it's been a week, but it feels much longer since we last had a win. So I'm feeling, I guess, okay is the right word. So.
We'll definitely talk about all that. We definitely want to ask you what the hell is going on down there in our nation's capital. But we want to first catch up with RFK Refugees. What's been new with you guys, man? I did take a peek at the post-game show you guys have been doing. Oh, great job, by the way. Fantastic job. I love that stuff.
I appreciate it. Yeah, I mean it's been going well. We've been doing a lot of Spirit content. They've been a little more open to helping us out. Obviously, the news is triggered a little bit more in the negative towards them. But yeah, we've just been, we've been trying different things, moving to Twitch live solely, I guess is what we've been trying to do. So yeah, it's been good. We're continuing to grow the show. People, no one tells us they don't like us. So I guess we're doing something right when that happens. So
well, to your faces or even anonymously on the internet, like, the internet is bound to do.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, hey, you know what we say here in Philadelphia? When they say they don't like us, we just say we don't care, man. So that's just how we roll. But listen, you're saying you're jealous of us with the winning. We're jealous of you. We've been dying for a women's team here in Philadelphia, and you guys are able to have one. So we're jealous of you guys.
Well, right now things aren't good. I guess culture-wise with the Washington Spirit. I don't know how much you've been paying attention. Their coach was recently.
Please do tell.
Yeah, the coach was mysteriously was let go due to a health reason. Was the initial response. Then there was investigation that went on and from the media and said, nope, that's not the reason. Then a lot of stories came out about abuse he leveled at players. It sort of brings into question a lot of players. Rose Lavelle, Mallory Pugh, a lot of players that left that we all just kind of assumed were, either performance reasons or the fact that, for in Rose Lavelle's case, she was leaving for most of the season. And now all that kind of comes back into question for the team. And then now there's someone was just let go who led the investigation. There's been a lot of other reports that have been going on with the Spirit. Things are not on the field. Things are okay. We still have Trinity Rodman, Ashley Sanchez. We picked up a win at Audi Field, but off the field, there are some things that are not good in Spirit Land. So,
oh man, well, thanks for the update, man. I appreciate you letting us know, man. That's definitely not what you want to hear, but Ted, let's talk about the DC United squad that you also cover here too, man. You mentioned it right off the bat. 3-game losing streak going on here for you guys. When the first 2 times we saw you guys, we saw a club that obviously we saw the youth, but there's some hunger on that side, and you guys definitely have proved that you're not afraid to work your ass off as well. What's been going on, man? Why the 3-game losing streak?
So, I mean, I think it's a little bit of a combination of a couple of things. First of all, obviously there is they had 2 games on the road, 2 very tough games on the road, a game against Nashville, and a game against New England. So those were 2 tough road games to go out. I think this team has started to pile up a little bit of injuries. Obviously, Paul Arriola scores a goal. This team has had 10 minutes of their DPs on the field, both Edison Flores and Paul Arriola. Edison Flores just came back from a month-long injury. So the total minutes that the 2 designated players, which are Paul Arriola and Edison Flores, has played is 10 minutes, and they got a goal. And then Paul Arriola immediately comes out. Obviously, Bill Hamid picks up an injury. So we've been dealing with John Kempen, who is serviceable and can be pretty bad. So I think it's been I think it's been a combination of injuries piling up, the team trying to manage minutes, trying to move things around, and just playing on. I think the fortunes of luck have sort of turned against us. The game against Atlanta is a perfect example that we had, I think, 27 shots on goal, 7 on target. And only were able to come up with 1 goal, which was an incredible goal from Jordi Reyna. And then you look at some missed opportunities, just some nice saves. So I think it's been a little bit of, I think the fundamentals are still good with the team. I think this team will, turn it around. I still think they're a playoff team. But I think this served as kind of a come back to earth moment after a 5-game winning streak. A lot of fans have been upset at the coverage from the national media. They do a whole segment on us talking about how good they're playing. They have Hernan Losada out there, and it all kind of went sour, kind of in that week. So hopefully a bounce back against Philly. Not going to lie. So
hey, listen, you can't get too high because then reality likes to find a good way to ground you. As Philly fans, we are all too well aware of how reality can set in just when you think you're peaking the crest of success.
Yeah, absolutely. And that certainly has happened here.
What's been going on with Paul Arriola? So he's suffering through a hamstring, little nagging injury.
So he's had a hamstring. When he went over to Swansea, he came back and was out for at least a month or 2 with a hamstring injury. Then I think he re-injured it, so he was out for a little bit longer, sort of came back into the team. He's been dealing with that injury. The interesting, of course, he was also gone for the Gold Cup too, and picked up, I think he played 11 minutes against Jamaica and pulled up as well, but stayed with the team and then started to make some appearances. It's been an issue he's been dealing with for a while. The team, I guess the fortunate thing is that the team is not, they're not saying, oh, he's out for a month or he's out for 2. They're basically saying he's day to day. The consensus is he's probably not going to start on Saturday. I don't think he'll get a call into the national team. If he does, that'll be interesting. But I think it's sort of the 2-week break. They're going to use that to get him ready to start against New York, and just hope everybody else stays healthy because this team is proving to be deeper maybe than I think a lot of people thought at the beginning of the year. But they are not. Enough injuries and things can start to look pretty bleak for the team.
Yeah, hamstrings are rough. Hamstrings are always rough. That's the one muscle that, like, if you pull, it's going to be tough until the end of the season to not re-injure it again because you don't have enough time, especially if you try and rush yourself back. Like, realistically, you pull your hamstring, 3 weeks, it should be good enough to get back 100%. But teams will definitely try and get you back quicker than that. And that's where re-injury definitely is a problem.
The funny thing was during the local broadcast. So he scored the goal, and then they were going to cut to a segment with the beat reporter. I can't remember her name right now, and basically talking about how much Paul Arriola prefers turf as he's walking off the field with an injury. So some bad timing on the local broadcast. You guys are going to get the local coverage. We gotta resort to the DC United website. This team called the Washington football team is playing a preseason game against the Ravens, and NBC has decided to use both the NBC Sports Washington and the Plus channel. So they're going to join it at 9 p.m. But you guys get the TV coverage, and it's still blacked out on ESPN Plus. So we got to use the website to watch it. So
MLS, gotta love
That's
it.
how I watch all Union games, to be honest, because I don't have cable, so I watch it through the Union website.
Yeah, mine's all through Hulu TV with ESPN Plus, so I always get the away feed for some reason like that. I don't get the local feed, so I always end. I'll see that broadcast, Ted.
I think you guys can tell I love my Eagles. I mean, it's evident I love my Eagles, but come on, man, the NFL it annoys me sometimes, man. Kidding me?
I am totally fine with being bumped to the Plus channel. I mean, that's there are a lot of fans that don't like it because they get the main channel, they don't get the Plus channel. I get the Plus channel. I broke down and got cable for a couple of reasons. That being one of them, I can record the games and watch them a little bit later. But the dual broadcast does annoy me a little bit. They're doing like some sort of stat tracker thing. I might tune in just to see what the big hubbub is about. It might be worth it, but I am not a Washington football team fan. Certainly for a number of reasons. But
you're not a Cowboys fan, are you, Ted?
Oh no, absolutely not. But
all right,
I am an anti Dan Snyder fan. Let's just say that anti Dan Snyder.
I feel like every self-respecting human is an anti-Dan Snyder.
Very true. Even Washington football team fans are anti-Dan Snyder.
Yeah,
how can you like that guy? How can you like that guy for sure? Yeah. But let's get back to the pitch here, guys. Yeah. So I want to bring the attention back to the Philadelphia Union. I mean, Zach, I want to start with you. I don't know what to expect here. Dude, we were on a high after NYCFC. We looked like we finally kind of figured it out. And then we can't even explain Montreal. Like, dude, like where is the psyche right now mentally with the Union?
I wish I was in the locker room and I could answer that question with 100% certainty. But I mean, as a team, they have to assume that they are good, because like if you lose faith in yourself as a team, you're not going to win any games. So clearly they haven't done that, because we did beat New York City FC. I think the issue is it's so hard to say there's a lack of cohesion because they play every single game with the same lineup, but it looks like there's a lack of cohesion, which makes no sense. Like Justin was talking about, like Gazdag seems on an island all the time because our forwards are so linear and boring to watch. They don't do anything creative. Their runs are straight, or they are to the corner, or they check into feet. No one's making dynamic go in, check in, and then dart back into the box for a little chip over the top from Gazdag. Because Gazdag has that stuff in the locker. We've seen him attempt to do creative things. It's just the players around him don't allow those creative things to come off. So I think mindset-wise, they always think that they're in every game. It's whether or not they can actually perform as a unit that will allow them to be in every single game.
Oh man, it should be tough here for sure. I want to ask you. So, what should the Union be looking out here for? What could be the reason that we lose a game here on Saturday or drop points?
I am feeling a little bit bullish, despite the 3-game loss, because of just the team did look the team did look good. I would be on the lookout for Yordi Reyna. He is having a stellar career. He has the probably one of the craziest goals I've seen DC score all year, where you have a free kick and Julian Gressel was coming to calm him down. I literally thought that was a set play. And he just catches Brad Guzan on his line and loops the ball over the top into the back of the net. Yordi Reyna's been playing good. Edison Flores has also looked better. So attack-wise, I think this team will be looking to sort of right the ship, get the ship back on track, get Ola Kamara back on the score sheet. He had tied the lead for 6 straight games with a goal. We hadn't seen that since the Luciano Emilio days back in 2008. So I think they'll be looking for that. And also Russell Canals is back, and he's a piece maybe that most people don't know, but his energy in that center of the field has been so sorely missing for this team, even in the winning streak. And he showed an ability to kind of be sort of that defensive stopper and sort of stop plays from developing that was sort of missing too in the losses as well. Teams were sort of able just to kind of basically own the center of the field. So his energy in that center of the park is going to be something to look out for. I think we're getting some guys back from injury. The defense is maybe the only point of concern. Fred Brilliant, no word on his status, but he did not play in the Atlanta game, picked up an injury. Tony Alfaro has good games. He has bad games. I'm not sure what they're going to say about Andy Nahar, who's been a revelation in that center of the field. He's a free roaming center back, if you can believe that. They just let him go forward. They just let him go forward. And it's great to see. But I think that's going to leave some spots in the back. I mean, you guys have the playbook, and I think you guys have used it very effectively against us, which is just to, sit back and give DC the ball. But DC is getting better. I think you'll notice they've gotten a little bit better when teams just say, before they struggled, when teams say, hey, here, have the ball, see if you can beat us. And they couldn't do it. And you're seeing this team be a little bit more effective when they're given the majority of the possession. When teams let them have the ball, you're going to see them be more dangerous. So I think that's something to look out for in this game. And I think you got a 2-week break. And I think this team doesn't want to get into a rut. They're fighting for a playoff spot. They're in front of their home fans. They're not going to want to go into this 2-week break with another loss on 4 straight. Even a tie would be maybe a little better, but disappointing. So that's something to consider. I think you're going to see this team go all out knowing that they have 2 weeks to rest up before they go to New York.
This is why we bring on RFK Refugees. We get the Luciano Emiliano reference there. Well, that's a throwback name, man. If any. Wasn't he like the MVP one year?
He was he had like 1 year. He had 1 year where he was incredible, and then another year where he wasn't so great. But he had 6 straight goals in 2008. That dude that dude's still around DC. I was like walking through RFK once, and literally he just rolls up. He like runs a youth program or something, so he's still like just around the area, and you just kind of run into him at games sometimes. It's pretty crazy to see. But
Now that's dope, and that's kind of what you want to see. These guys kind of hang around after their career's over, and we got a couple of them, so that's definitely dope. So to that point as well, Ted, you guys haven't beaten us in DC since 2017, so it's a couple seasons now. So it definitely starts lingering in the mind for sure there. So Justin, I don't feel like this is the type of match where I feel like we can kind of, fix the demons, in our closet. The issue with the Union has been the attack. It's even just holding some possession, moving the ball, especially in the final third. Ted just kind of said it. We sit back and we just wait for DC to make that mistake to pounce on it, man. But what do you expect from this attack on Saturday, realistically, man? Realistically, I know you could do that.
Not a fucking clue. I really do not know what to expect because as I said to Tim on Saturday, we won the game that I thought we were going to draw, and we drew the game I thought we were going to win. So at this point, I don't know what's going on with this team. So to put it bluntly, I have no idea, and I don't even know if Jim has an idea at this point. Like, I don't know what is going on with this offense. I don't know what will fix it. The only thing I could think that would change anything would be to give Davo a start, and that would be a real wild card.
Oh my God. So that's actually what I was going to ask Tim. Tim, I was watching Montreal match, and I just after 90 minutes, the first thing that came to my mind was why wasn't Davo out there? And I want to ask you, like, why isn't he out there? Will there be a chance we'll see him on Saturday?
I mean, I have no idea why he wouldn't be out there. I was, like I said, I was very angry at this match. One of the main reasons, too, was at the end when you're pushing for a draw at home against Montreal, you use 4 out of your 5 subs instead of 5, and you leave your new signing, your new loanee striker on the bench when you're down a goal at home to Montreal, trying to shithouse a draw. Like, that didn't sit well with me. But to your question here, I don't know when and if we'll see him. I would still assume he would be on the bench and he wouldn't start. I think he is sort of similar to Sergio Santos in that he is a pacey striker, and it's kind of hard to tell because we really haven't seen him. If he has more of a flair, or if he does more things like Zach was saying, where he doesn't just do straight runs or runs to the corner just to utilize his speed, like maybe he has a little bit more flair on the ball that we might be able to see, and that would definitely change things up for the attack. But I don't think it'll be from the start. I think he would maybe come off the bench, and I hope so because he didn't do it in the last game. But yeah, I think it's going to be sort of like what Justin said. It's going to be sit back and defend and then see what happens. And DC is a much improved team this year. And I think if you sit back too long against them, they will find ways to break you down right now. And that kind of does scare me for this match.
Especially our back line. Especially our back line.
It's been a little shaky, which has not been fun.
It has not been fun.
You guys out here saying your backline shaky. Our backline is going to be shaky in this game. I don't think you're going to see Bill out there. You're going to have John Kempen. You're going to have a Jekyll and Hyde performance from Tony Alfaro. So I'm thinking we might see some goals this week then, if that's the case, because 2 shaky backlines. Of course, then I say that and it's going to be 0-0. That's exactly what happens.
Yeah.
It's the beauty of the MLS, guys. It's the
There's
beauty
going to be
of
8 chances between both teams, and each one might grab 1 goal.
Yeah.
So my concern with Davo not playing per se is I kind of see what he's done with the homegrowns, which, like we talked about with Quinn earlier, like we don't know what it is. Quinn is not getting more minutes when he's kind of showing that, hey, he could possibly help on the attack. So when I'm looking at past signings that hasn't really seen the pitch per se, I know it's still early for him. This is what his 2nd, 3rd match he's been available. With Wooten, I remember the RSL start, and it looked like he was going to be really freaking good, and then I just don't know what happened. And, of course, Matisz Orovec, which really we didn't even get to see it. So I'm not going to go there yet, but I do wonder, does he need to figure out how to play here with the system? Because from what I see on tape, he's got the speed he can play as that holding guy. So I definitely have that question mark there. But let's get to some of these predictions, guys. Let's get to some of these predictions. So, Ted, as always, we always allow you to go first, my man. So give us, a little bit what you think is going to happen in this match on Saturday, and give us that final score prediction.
Oh man, I'm hopeful. My hope is that the team, bounces back. It was a tough week. They get a full week off to kind of, rest, get healthy, and they hit the ground, knowing the disappointment of last week. They're in a playoff push. Atlanta's now, breathing down their neck to sneak into that playoff spot. I'm hopeful they can respond. I'm hopeful we're going to see a player like Kamara get back on the score sheet. I think it's going to be a wild game. I'm going to go like 3-2 DC. I think we find a way to finally get the win and get the monkey off our back. And when you guys talk about a shaky defense, we have a shaky defense. I think Kempen's going to make something that's going to make me slap my forehead at some point in this game. But I think DC finds a way to pull out the victory.
If that is the case, I am not going anywhere near Twitter after that.
I think if the Union score twice, I'll be happy whether they win.
Well, Zach, speaking of which, give us that thought and prediction.
So I'm going 1-1. And just to go off like what Tim was saying about Davo and how I'd love to see him, get some minutes. I would love to see just one time that Gazdag tries to play a 1-2 with our forward. They're like ready to receive that pass and can play it back. Because I've seen Gazdag try and play 1-2s with Casper like 15 times, and Casper just like lets the ball hit him in the shin, and it goes like 25 yards the other way. And I'm like, how do you play in a professional soccer league where you cannot complete a 1-2 pass with your attacking midfielder? I don't understand it. But yeah, I just have no faith in our attack to score goals at this point in time. And until they prove me otherwise, I'm going to cap them at 1 goal. And as shaky as our back line has been, they've also been very hit or miss. Like some games, they're very good. And the 1 goal will probably come from Glesnes passing the ball to the other team or something like that, because he loves to do that. But yeah, 1-1's where I'm at. Long story short.
All right, Justin, what do you think, man?
Man, when I heard Ted's prediction, I was just like, I think the same thing with Zach. I was like, man, you're going to score 2 goals? That's phenomenal. Like, my God, it's been a while since they've done that.
Oh God.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Zach. Neither team really fills me with any confidence that this is going to be anything more than a typical Union DC game. It's going to be very dull. I'm going 1-1. I just like I think the same level. It's going to be that goal, the goal DC scored is going to be like one moment. It's going to be a broken play. It's going to be Glesnes switching off or just not checking to the runner or Kai not stepping out and they, they get a goal like Montreal did right at the end of the first half. I don't know. I hope Davo gets some minutes, because at this point, what do you like? I know he's only been around like a week, but like give the guy some starts or give him some playing time, whatever it is. Just let him on the field, for Christ's sake. But yeah, the way both teams have been playing of late, it just feels like it's just gonna be a boring stalemate. Like, I talk about the last few games. Like, it just nothing has filled me with any confidence that this game is not going to be more than a boring affair, and that either team will score more than 1 goal. If either team scores more than 1 goal, hats off to either of them, because I just the way that I just don't see that happening. If the Union score more than 1 goal, my God, that I don't know what I'd do, but. Yeah, it's gonna be a 1-1 game. I'm not feeling confident with the way the team's been playing lately.
Philadelphia Union, if I have to sneak away to watch this match, please make it worth my while. Please. Tim, give us that prediction, man.
Here comes my optimism, right? This is it.
I feel like that's it's fake, Tim. It's fake.
It's fake. I don't know. This is MLS. So it's going to be a 3-3 draw.
Oh,
there's
any given Saturday, baby.
What is it with these predictions of more than 1 goal?
Goals everywhere. DC's going to get 3. Philly's going to get 3. There's going to be at least 2 own goals. I'm not putting names to goals. I'll give you 2 own goals, though. 1 for each team.
Someone's going to step up.
All right,
someone's going to step up. The defenses for both sides, as we've all said, have not been looking great, and it's going to be. I mean, it's like Ted said, it's DC's last game for 2 weeks, so they're going to go all out. They'll find ways to score goals, and I think that'll push the Union a little bit. And they'll get some goals too here. So I'll be happy about the Union scoring 3, but it'll be a draw.
We have to give a quick shout out to AK Gaiman, who finally made it just at the end here. AK Gaiman, thanks so much for tuning in, man. Glad you had some soccer practice, but you enjoyed your soccer practice there. But we're not going to end right here, because, ladies and gentlemen, tonight, and I'm sure Ted, we talked about earlier, we weren't here, but the MLS All Star game is tonight. We have our we talked about it. We're really excited about this Liga MX versus the MLS All Stars. Which I wanted to talk about that. So the starting lineup has been released. At goalkeeper, Pedro Galice. In your back line, you have Nohu, you have Zimmerman, Yeimar, Roldan. The midfield, João Paulo, Lucas Elrayan, and Christian Roldan. Oh, they both Roldans. I didn't even just realize. Holy crap. And then your forward lines, you got Gustavo Bal, Raul Ruiz Diaz, and Coel. And Yeah, so as Justin said, it is literally the Seattle All Stars. You have six. I'm sorry, you have six in the starting lineup there.
I got a theory.
Okay.
And I started seeing
I know where you're going
on Twitter.
I know where you're going with this.
Zach knows kind of exactly where I'm going with this. This is a long game from Bob Bradley trying to get as many Seattle Sounders injured so that LAFC can climb up the table. I would not put it past New Jersey's own Bob Bradley.
That's some smart stuff there.
To pull out some shithousery. So listen,
that's
Bob,
some Soprano shit, bro.
I get you. I understand what you're doing, and I'm here for it.
Can someone tell me when, like, do people actually get injured in All-Star games?
I'm sure.
Everybody talks about, oh man, I don't want any, like, DC fans talk about it all the time. I'm like, no one gets injured. It's fine, especially in this game. Like, you're going against like two teams that aren't really going to be. They're not going all out. They're not going to get stuck in on a tackle or something like that. They both. This is probably this game. I think is going to be wild. I remember the old All-Star games in the '90s and the early 2000s when it was like 10-9 or something like that. I'm thinking I'm going to see something like that. I don't know if y'all watched the skills. I don't know if any of y'all watched the skills competition, but that was incredible amounts of fun. A lot of fun watching that.
You had three players in those competitions.
Jorge Campos coming out of nowhere, like that was some next level MLS 1.0 callbacks.
Yes, sir. Ted, you got a prediction for tonight with the MLS All Stars and Liga MX All Stars?
I'm going like 10-9 Liga MX All Stars after that. After I'm seeing that, But no, man, this is fun. I'm going to enjoy it. I'm glad that I feel like the All Star game for the past decade has just been like, oh, we need to show that MLS can compete it with Europe. And it was just never, it was always a losing game. And I'm glad that they're just like, you know what, this is about having fun. And I think the skills competition's about that. MLS is at its best when it does weird and different things, not when it tries to like emulate what Europe is. And I know that like the purists out there are decrying the All-Star game. I saw one anonymous account being like, oh man, everybody's talking about what an embarrassment this is around the world. And I'm like, who cares? Let's just have fun. Soccer is supposed to be fun. Like, so when do we forget that?
So Ted is actually talking to Montreal, Chicago, you people. So get your act together because we agree with Ted. Zach, what you got a prediction for us for tonight's MLS All Star game?
Part of me thinks it's going to be super high scoring. Part of me doesn't. I'm gonna go in the middle and say 4-3. Just enough goals where it's super entertaining, but not too many where it's just like no one's playing to play. You know what I mean?
I agree.
4-3 is a respectable scoreline, I think.
Yes, sir. I agree. Justin, scoreline for tonight.
I'm gonna go definitely between the middle of Zach and Ted's prediction. I think it's gonna be wild. It's gonna be high scoring. I'm thinking like 8-6 Liga MX, and I'm gonna say that it's gonna be wild. I think there's actually a red card produced.
Ooh.
And it's gonna be for something fucking stupid.
Oh, I want someone to take their shirt off twice when they score. Like someone scores 2 goals.
Yeah, I think that's what it's gonna be. It's gonna be
that would be awesome.
A jersey taking off twice thing, and then they're gonna look and go, "Oh, damn!"
Did you do that?
Well, you guys saw the skills competition with Pepe and the goalkeeper. I don't know who the goalkeeper was.
Look at Justin's game right
faking
now.
a hamstring injury to get him to stop the game. I actually thought he got injured. I'm like, darn, that's going to be like the story. And then he wins. He wins the point for doing that too. It was crazy.
Oh, it was awesome. His interview after, he was like, "Yeah, the fans were too excited. I had to make sure they got quiet."
Tim, you got a prediction for us?
Man, I just want it to be fun. Like, yeah, score a lot of goals. For me, fun in this game will be to see some of these U.S. players go up against the Mexican players and kind of get that rivalry sparked again from Gold Cup and from Nations League. So I'm just looking forward to that. And yeah, Justin stole my prediction. I want to see a red card. Like, I want to see it because it's fun and it's MLS versus Liga MX. So there has to be some sort of drama that way,
Of course.
Tonight should be a lot of fun. I really, again, I want to commend the MLS because this is a fantastic idea of what they're doing. But Ted, guys, that's going to do another episode of DOOP by the River. Ted, where can people find RFK Refugees? Of course, we're going to put this in the description, but where can people find you guys?
Yeah, we're on Twitch, twitch.tv/RFK Refugees. We do, if you want to check us out for our post game, what we thought about the Union game coming up, you can definitely check us out there. All the podcast apps. I'm not going to name them all. There's way too many now. Just search RFK Refugees, you'll find them. Twitter.com/RFK Refugees. We're on Instagram @RFK Refugees. So yeah, awesome. Definitely check us out if you like just listening to other teams. It's cool.
Yeah. Absolutely. Or if you're trying to figure out what DC's looking like these days,
exactly.
Definitely check it out. Ted, man, as always, we really appreciate you hopping on it and give us that DC insight, man, and hope to talk in the future again.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, guys. Ladies and gentlemen, that's going to do it for another episode of DOOP by the River. Again, do not forget, if you are watching this on El Parcero Phillies YouTube channel or Philly Sports Network, make sure to like the lives and subscribe to both. And, of course, if you guys want to listen to this later on or you can't listen to it right now, we are on PSN Radio. So for right now, what we're doing at PSN, all of the Philly Sports Network podcasts are going to be on PSN Radio. So if you want to check this out, again, like Ted said, you can find it wherever you stream podcasts. Just look up PSN Radio. You'll find all the PSN podcasts there. Ladies and gentlemen, that is Ted Meyer from the RFK Refugees. We got Zach Lobasso. We got Justin Ricardo Pepe for USMT Striker Freiburg. And, of course, you got Tim Lovinguth. Of course, I go by the name of El Parcero Philly, and we're telling you guys to DOOP on. BTC!